Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Power Hour. I'm the host, Chris Peters, along with Kareem Mays. And tonight we have a very special guest, Mr. Ricardo from Portugal, and he is a multimedia designer and entrepreneur. And tonight he's going to be taking us through some skills with Inkscape and a few other software programs to enhance your logo, your business logos, and any other animations you'd like to do with logos and pictures and things like that. So Ricardo, I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome.
Okay. Hi guys. Hello everybody. So I'm here to help you, and we are going to start from the beginning and from your needs. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about main concepts that are useless or useful. I'm going to talk about main. How can I say this? I like to say that I always talk about the right point. Okay, not the right in the meaning of the right and wrong, but the point that we need to do something. Because many people talk, many people have arguments, and people talk about concepts a lot, but they do nothing. Okay, so I think that we must and we need to do more and talk and present concepts. How can I say this? Less than do. Okay, we must do a little bit more than talk. Not here, because here we are talking about everything. So here is the channel for talking, but we are going to talk about doing things. That's the point. Okay.
Do you know how to share your screen so we can see what you're doing when you're going to do the stuff on Inkscape?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to share the screen, but for this start, I would like just to complete that we are talking in a few minutes before starting.
I just wanted to make sure you knew how to cast your screen. That's all. Okay,
yes,
good, cool.
I'm going to cast the screen. Okay, no problem. But we are talking first about channels, about visualizations, about people liking or not your videos, our channels, our jobs. Okay. How can I say this? We basically were talking about visibility. Okay. About how people can find us, can find our jobs, can find our art. For example, doesn't matter what kind of art is it, music, graphical art, illustration, video, So nowadays we have only two ways to get these visualizations. We have the organic way and the paid way. Okay, the organic way, it's what we must do because we don't have much money to invest for paying advertisements. So the organic way depends on many things. But when we do a serious job, when we work with culture, when we work with many serious things, people don't watch us very well. You know that because you do a serious job, and probably you lose space for a video clip with many, horrible things to see. But that's real nowadays. So how can we do to get these people watching us? I think that I always said this to my students in Brazil. I think that we just don't need to care about this, because when you do a serious job, when you try to help, for example, that's what we are doing here right now. We must care about how many people can we try to help. Okay, and if we have 10, 100, 1,000, it's very good. It's very more pleasure to help 100 people than to have 1 billion stupid guys saying, I like your big red nose, you know. So this is the organic way to get these views. I think if we have a serious job and if we believe in what we are doing, we start to make things happen. But we will never have 1 billion visualizations in our videos, okay? The second way is paying, but paying for advertisement on Google, YouTube, Facebook depends on how much your brand is known by people. So we are not McDonald's, we are not Apple, and we are not Microsoft. So we are never going to have 1 billion people looking for our brands. So I think that first of all, the first important thing to do for all of us is to try to identify our consumers and the people who like this kind of different job, this kind of different presentations, this kind of different videos, okay? And then try to make these people follow us. For example, I have a small channel on YouTube that sometimes I put there some tutorials, and I have about 1,200 people signing this channel. This is not too much, but I think it's great because these people they like that and they follow me there, okay? Because they want to learn something. That's what we are trying here too. So I think it's more important for me to have these 1,200 people following me there because they are serious for learning than 1 billion minions saying that like my nose, you know. So now let's go to the Inkscape. I'm going to talk today about some tools.
Cool, let's do it.
Yes, but before talking and showing those tools, I would like to say that we can't compare these tools with those famous tools. Okay, many people ask me, Ricardo, GIMP is like Photoshop, and I say no, Photoshop it's a tool, GIMP it's another tool. But I can, me, Ricardo, do the same things that I have done in Photoshop with GIMP. Okay, I can do the same things that I have done in the past with Illustrator. I can do nowadays with Inkscape. I can do this, and if I can, everybody can do this. Okay, but of course, these tools, these open source tools, have limitations, have some bugs. For example, their developments are a little bit late compared to the famous tools. So I can never compare. I think it's a mistake for me and for any kind of user that uses open source, saying that open source tools can be compared to the proprietary software. Okay, so we must understand that we can't make this mistake, compare these things.
Can I ask you a question, Ricardo?
Okay, you can.
My experience is that paid software is always better than open source. You've got more options, you've got more accessibility to media templates, video backgrounds, callouts, animations, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's the reason these tools cost what they cost, is because when you use stuff like Camtasia or Vegas Pro or Inkscape or Blender that are all stuff, you know, well, I think Inkscape's open source. Blender's paid for, am I correct? That's a paid service?
Blender is open source too.
Okay. I know Adobe Premiere and Adobe Photoshop, all those programs, you pay for those programs, but the results of using those programs is that you definitely look like more of a professional, and you can tell the difference between someone using something like Sony Vegas Pro compared to something like Movavi. And I'm not picking on Movavi because Movavi is actually really good, but it's more of a beginner's video editor in my experience. It gets you used to the idea of video editing and how to add stuff to your tracks, to your timeline, and all that. And I'd say Camtasia, Pinnacle, and Vegas are the three best for professional editing, in my experience. But I think it's worth investing in these paid programs because, like I said, they're going to look more professional. You're going to have more professional effects and things like that. Better resolutions, better picture, better audio, all that kind of stuff. So would you say that's a notable difference and distinction between a good observation between open source and paid software?
Yeah, I think that the differences are not the final result, you know. I can say this because I have used both, and I can say that the difference are in the process. For example, I have more productivity using proprietary software because all of these things that you said. For example, when a friend of mine talks about typography animation or motion graphics with After Effects, he has a lot of plugins and templates and mockups ready to use. So he can make, for example, a motion graphic animation in 2 hours. I need, for example, to create the same motion graph about 5 hours, you know, because I do not have templates and plugins. I have to do it from scratch. Okay, so but the final result, it's the same. I can say this because I have used both of them. Nowadays I only use open source because nowadays I work for myself. That's the point too. That's very important. So I what?
No, I was just gonna say, I think it comes down to what you need to do and what your purpose is. Open source can be as useful or more useful than paid.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It's not always paid software. I think it comes down to what do you need to do, and you're the artist. They're just tools.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Does buying an expensive hammer always make the nail good?
Yes.
Well, maybe in some cases it might feel good hammering in the nail, but do you need an expensive hammer?
No.
That's my
Yes, that's the point. Softwares are just tools. I'm just saying that with a proprietary software for some kind of jobs, for example, you have more productivity, you know, you do less effort to make it happen. But it doesn't have, for example, with Inkscape or with GIMP. I can do the same. We have these differences much more on audio area and with video area. That's it. But for example, nowadays for spatial effects, Blender, it's a great tool, as Natron. Natron is another great software. And the Fusion, I don't know if you know this software. Fusion now has a version for Linux, Mac, and Windows with free license. So you do basically the same as you do with the paid version, but you have some limitations as working with a team, for example, or using Render Farm, for example. But if you are a lone wolf, as I am, you can work with Fusion, for example, for free. And so that's the point. I think that open source software and proprietary software can work together. They doesn't need to fight, as I see in some events that I go to watch, to see people fighting for discussing what's better, proprietary or open source, and some takes the their weapons and start fighting. And I just say, man, you are fighting for brands, or you are fighting for tools that